This is the world's thinnest book-style foldable phone, and it's so thin that the USB-C port barely fits here at the bottom. And if you're a Mac user out there, you can not only send files to and from your device easily, but also remotely control your Mac from anywhere in the world, and even get the same trackpad gestures that you would have on macOS on your foldable phone, and it works so incredibly well. The Oppo Find N5 is definitely one of those really enticing phones for those who want a foldable but don't want all of the extra bulk that comes with them sometimes. This device is actually pretty jarring to hold at first because of how thin it is, but it never feels like something that's so fragile that you're worried about breaking it at all times. The Find N5 is only 8.93 millimeters thick when folded, which is slightly more than my iPhone 16 Pro Max that sits at about 8.25 millimeters. And then when you unfold the device, you cut that thickness in more than half at around 4.2 millimeters thick, which is again barely thicker than the USB-C port and nearly the same thickness as a headphone jack. Now, for more reference, the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is 12 millimeters thick, so this is definitely one of the thinnest in its class by kind of a lot. Now, the front display here comes in at about 6.62 inches, and it's still a little bit taller and a little bit more narrow than traditional slab phones like my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but it's honestly not far off like some of the other foldables front displays that are very, very tall and very narrow and a lot harder to use. Now, when you unfold this phone, you get a beautiful 8.1-inch display that is so incredibly bright and vibrant. I mean, we're looking at 1400 nits outdoor and 2100 nits of peak HDR brightness. It's so good that I honestly can't use anything else right now. I just love this interior display. Now, the crease on this device, while not completely invisible, is drastically reduced compared to others. The crease never really bothers me on the other phone, so I'm not going to ding them too much, but I do think that this is a vast improvement. Both displays are LTPO 1 to 120 Hz, which is always really nice to have, and now you get them on both. The entire phone is also IP6, 8, and 9 certified, which is similar to the OnePlus 13 that can withstand high pressure, high heat situations. So technically, if you put this phone in your pocket and then throw your jeans or whatever into the wash, it should be okay, though I definitely do not recommend it, and I'm definitely not going to try it. Now, me personally, I've been testing this phone poolside for the last week with water getting splashed, even hot tub, so pretty hot water getting splashed on it. It's been fine, so no need to worry about using this in those situations. I think this is the perfect phone to unfold, read a book near the pool and unwind, and you don't have to worry about your phone getting ruined. Not sure how many people care about the internal specs or the chip, but if you were wondering, it is running the high-end Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. And I mean, for performance, this is an absolute champ. It is a flagship in 2025. You're going to have flagship quality. Oppo wasn't cutting costs significantly in order to make a phone this thin, or wasn't worried about sacrificing performance for the design, so you are definitely getting not only an excellent design, but a very powerful phone. Now, as a Mac power user, one of the best things about the Oppo Find N5, and it's something that not a lot of Android phones offer, is that it's very compatible with a Mac. All you need to do is download the O+ Connect app on your Mac, and it's free, by the way, and you get some fantastic integration. This app gives Mac users some really cool features like an AirDrop alternative that I personally think is sometimes better because I now no longer need to go on my phone and choose the photos or videos that I want to send over. I can just look at everything once my phone is connected to my Mac, all on the Mac. I can see every file, photo, video, whatever, and then just drag and drop it over to my desktop. It updates in real time, so if I take a photo and then I look over at my machine here, you can see that it immediately sends a notification that something new has popped up, and then I can take action from there. But everything is syncing in real time, and transferring files, again, is just as easy as just dragging and dropping from the app to my Mac, and vice versa. I think this is better than some of the AirDrop alternatives out there, and quite frankly, I think it's sometimes better than just using AirDrop, at least when it comes to sharing from your own personal device, because I can very quickly and easily just get a glimpse of all of the files, and I don't have to again go through my phone and take a look at what I want to send. Now, Oppo takes the Mac integration one step further with a remote desktop functionality that's built into the phone itself, into the settings menu, and then connects via that same O+ Connect app. Once you get your Mac connected and everything, it can be controlled using your phone. And for the most part, the input lag is pretty decent. It's not awful at all. Definitely usable if there was something that you wanted to access for your Mac when not currently near it. In fact, as long as your Mac is connected to Wi-Fi and it has good connection, you're really not going to notice a whole lot of lag or anything. But as long as your Mac, let's say I was in Florida for the last week and my Mac here in the studio is connected at all times to Wi-Fi, in theory, you are able to connect anywhere in the world, which is pretty cool. So if there's a file that you needed to look at or something that you needed to do on your Mac, maybe you needed to turn something on, I don't know, whatever the case might be, you can remotely access your Mac from your Oppo Find N5. And if you fold it in half, you get the top part acting like your Mac screen and the bottom half acting like your Mac trackpad. And you get a full range of all the macOS gestures that we all love. And there are gestures at the bottom and triggers down here like hiding your dock, mission control, and even more. And if you prefer a mouse, you can even change the trackpad to a virtual mouse that can scroll up and down, though I think that aspect's a little bit more wonky compared to using the trackpad. But all in all, I was thoroughly impressed with this integration, even with the app currently in beta form. And lastly, when it comes to the cameras here, these are pretty great flagship level cameras. I didn't spend a ton of time taking pictures during my limited use because I was mostly invested in the sheer just design and the macOS integration. That was by far the things that I was really curious about. But if you are curious about what the photos look like, very similar to the OnePlus 13 and very similar to Oppo's other flagship that they released recently. But here are some other photos. Again, you can just tell me what you think. You've been looking at these photos. How do you feel about them? For me personally, I feel like sometimes it's kind of overly sharp and overly processing things and smoothing out faces a little bit too much for my liking. But overall, I think it's a very, very good camera. And I think you'll love, if you decide to pick this phone up, what you're getting with this phone, not only from the camera perspective, but again, that macOS integration and of course, just the power, performance, and the design. So overall, I think this is definitely the approach that Apple needs to take with foldables if and when they do. I personally prefer the book style foldable. I think it just offers a little bit more functionality than the clamshell where it folds in half. But these displays have been absolutely incredible. Everything seems super premium, so much attention to detail, kind of Apple-esque if you ask me. Perhaps the iPhone 17 Air is a look into how Apple eventually plans to take that really thin design into the world of foldables maybe. Regardless, would love to know your thoughts on this fantastic new Oppo Find N5 and what Apple should do in this category down in the comments below. This has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.